Today's show should come with a trigger warning. I'm going to trigger leftists. I'm going to trigger black racists. I'm going to trigger all the people that think it's their job to police my thoughts and the thoughts of others. I've got a comparison today that's going to blow people's minds, but I'm going to unpack it and explain it in a way that makes sense. I'm going to compare Cailtin Clark to Jackie Robinson. Stick around. Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I'm Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me. Steve Kim's going to join me on today's show. I've got a tremendous fire starter for you today, a conversation about Cailtin Clark. If for some reason you're not interested in this amazing fire starter that I'm about to unleash, you can also go to extra Fearless content on Blaze TV. Go to blazetv.com/fearless, use the promo code fearless, and you can save $20 on your yearly subscription. Also, hey, what do you guys think of, see my new coffee mug? Oh, for those of you listening on Apple, you can't see it, but it's a Fearless Roll Call 2.0 coffee mug. I'm very excited. I hope you guys have made your plans to join us here in Nashville for Roll Call 2.0. Man, I got my box of swag for Roll Call, and it's really impressive. I love this box of swag that we have for our special VIPs. That's going to be awesome. Hope you can still have time to join us. Go to fearlessarmyrollcall.com. I have a special promo code for you today, and I'll be giving out new special promo codes through it. The one on the screen, that's a good one. Fearless, that's a good one. I got an even better one for you, Fearless 50. Try that one. It's awesome. All right, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Good Ranchers. Use my promo code FEARLESS at goodranchers.com. And with your subscription, you can claim free American Wagyu burgers for a year, a $400 value, and support veterans this Memorial Day season. I'm so excited about this fire starter today. I love when I trigger people. I love when I trigger people. And particularly when I'm not triggering them with just clickbait. I'm triggering them with a profound thought, a profound way of thinking about what's going on in culture, what's going on in the sports world. And I have done that today. I think you're going to enjoy this. I'm going to give you a whole new way to think about Cailtin Clark. So in many respects, the obstacle course confronting Cailtin Clark in the WNBA is more difficult than the path Jackie Robinson traveled integrating Major League Baseball in 1947. Go ahead, catch your breath, call me crazy, call your friends. Whitlock's lost it. Whitlock's a sellout. He's an Uncle Tom. How dare he compare Show White, Cailtin Clark, to the great Jackie Robinson? How dare he make those statements? But I'm going to repeat what I said at the beginning. In many respects, the obstacle course confronting Cailtin Clark in the WNBA is more difficult than the path Jackie Robinson traveled integrating Major League Baseball in 1947. Now let me clarify that statement. Jackie Robinson had good reason to fear for his physical safety, to fear for his life. He traveled the country with the Brooklyn Dodgers during an era of enforced segregation and public anti-black racial hostility. He received numerous credible death threats. He was not Bubba Wallace. He was not Jussie Smollett. He actually received credible death threats. He risked his life to play a game. I'm in no denial about that. And that's why I said, in many respects, Cailtin Clark is not risking her life. She is, however, risking her sanity. She is combating a normalized and an insidious form of racial idolatry. Woke culture has turned Clark into the avatar for white savior syndrome. Black leftists have been programmed to believe that when white people acquiesce to demands from black leftists to help black people overcome oppression, white people are doing so to act as a white savior. I want to repeat that because that's a lot. Go back. I want to repeat that. I want to be clear about what white savior syndrome is. Black leftists have programmed black people to believe that when white people acquiesce to the demands from black leftists to help black people overcome oppression, white people are doing so to act as a white savior. And everybody knows white saviors, they're racist. Are you following the confusion? It's a no-win situation for white people. If they ignore the suffering of black people, they're racist. If they take action to limit the suffering of black people, they're racist too. I want to be careful here, I don't want to distract, but white savior syndrome is really just a tactic that Marxists use to convince black people that Christianity is racist. It's all part of a convoluted argument that Christianity is the white man's religion. I hope I did not distract you by going all the way there, but I want you to understand fully what I'm arguing. Let me get back to Cailtin Clark. Cailtin Clark's sanity cannot survive the racial, sexual, and political blender participation in the WNBA will cause. She's just 22 years old. She's a white woman with a boyfriend raised in the Catholic faith. She plays on a bad basketball team that has started the season 0-5. She's playing in a league that is hostile to virtually everything about her: skin color, sexuality, and faith. That's why, in terms of mental health, I think it's fair to compare Clark to Jackie Robinson. The mental health challenges facing her are every bit, if not more, as strenuous as Robinson's burden nearly 80 years ago. As of today, if I had to bet, I think Cailtin Clark's WNBA peers are going to break her. I'm not alone in that thought. Charles Barkley, LeBron James, and countless others can see what I can see. The level of pressure on Clark to rescue the floundering league, combined with the amount of jealousy, racism, and anti-heterosexual bigotry directed at Clark, combined with the incompetence of the Indiana Fever organization, are going to permanently destroy Cailtin Clark. That is my prediction. I do not see a path to success for Clark, not a sustainable path. The sympathy appeals from Barkley and James will not lessen the animus showered on Cailtin Clark. There's a willful ignorance that defines the discussion of Clark, an ignorance that social media platforms and YouTube reward. Let's listen to LeBron James try to shower some sympathy on Cailtin Clark. Take a listen.
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. You know, they flew private. That should be celebrated in its own right. From anyone that's, you know, in sports that's flown commercial or flown, you know, charter, that should be celebrated. And it's because of Cailtin Clark. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it f***ed up. Cailtin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA.
So I'm going to play a fatter version of that later. LeBron, where he brings Bronny into it, but I don't want to distract right now. We'll do that with Steve Kim later in this show. But that was LeBron trying to shower some sympathy on Cailtin Clark. Hats off to him. He can't lessen the animus. Charles Barkley tried to shower some sympathy on Cailtin Clark. He scolded Clark's WNBA peers on the set of Inside the NBA last night. Take a listen.
You women out there, y'all petty, man. Hey, LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Cailtin Clark. Y'all petty girls. I expect men to be petty because we're the most insecure group in the world.
Oh, you are.
Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bringing to the WNBA. Don't be petty like dudes. Listen, what she's accomplished, give her flowers. Stop being petty, all you women out there. She got y'all ass charters. She bringing all y'all this money to the table, but y'all being petty like dudes. LeBron, you are 100% right. Y'all girls, stop being petty. Cailtin Clark, thank you for bringing all that money and shine to the WNBA.
Well, they're gonna hate you even more now.
They can't do anything to me.
They're gonna hate you though.
Hey, they can hate on me, but they better. But that mailman better be in my damn house the 1st and the 15th for another year. For another year.
Okay.
Let us continue our discussion.
So that was Charles trying to be a tiny bit woke, in my opinion, while trying to shower some sympathy on Cailtin Clark. It's not effective. It's not working. And Charles is being a bit dishonest because, saying don't be petty like men. No, we know who the queens of petty are, and it's not men. But shortly after Barkley issued his statement on Inside the NBA, current WNBA player and ESPN broadcaster, Cheney, and I'm not even going to attempt to mess up her last name. It's spelled O-G-U-W-U Mike. I'm not even going to attempt it. Cheney, anyway, she took to Twitter and said, Charles and Inside the NBA team are the GOATs of the industry. So respectfully, I'll offer my perspective with love. Every WNBA player I know supports the rookie class and are grateful for the spotlight and money that Cailtin Clark, Angel Reese, and company are bringing to the W. So again, this is this white savior syndrome at work. This Cheney or whatever her name is being dishonest. Barkley didn't make a single comment about the rookie class or Angel Reese or company that she's talking about. He was talking specifically about Cailtin Clark. And Cheney and these WNBA players, they don't want to admit that Cailtin Clark alone is the primary reason there is significant interest in the WNBA. If they acknowledge that fact, they would be admitting a white girl is saving the league. They're so controlled by their racial idolatry that they are forced to be jealous, petty, and racist toward Cailtin Clark. Angel Reese's embrace of femininity has helped the W market itself to non-LGBTQ fans. But Angel Reese is also part of the problem. Her brand was built off hating and trolling Cailtin Clark. Remember this? Reese still struggles to conceal her jealousy of Clark. Reese recently complained that all WNBA teams should be getting the same publicity. It ain't just one team. Who do you think she's talking about? She's talking about Cailtin Clark. Angel Reese is in on the hatred and idolatry and jealousy of Cailtin Clark, just like everybody else. Let me go back to connecting Cailtin Clark to Jackie Robinson. Let me go back to where I started. Jackie Robinson was 28 years old during his rookie season in Major League Baseball. That's 6 years older than Clark. He joined a team that finished 96, 60, and 1 the year before. No one was all that surprised the Dodgers advanced to the World Series Robinson's rookie year. Clark, on the other hand, joined the worst team in the WNBA. No matter how much abuse Robinson suffered, at least he knew he was playing for a winner and playing meaningful games. Athletes love to win. Winning is the reward for suffering and sacrifice. As a baseball player, particularly as a batter, Robinson could single-handedly control his level of individual success. Clark's success as an individual depends on the other 4 players on the court with her. She can't pass herself the ball. She can't catch her own passes. She can't set screens for herself. She needs the other 4 players to be good and be able to operate somewhere close to her level. So far, the defenses deployed against the Fever are solely designed to stop Cailtin Clark. Defenders pick her up full court, and she's blitzed and double-teamed virtually every time she initiates offense at the top of the key. Clark is going to struggle offensively, and her team will struggle to win games all summer. She's going to be miserable and isolated all summer. She's going to hear idiots who know nothing about basketball dissect her play, and racist idiots dissect her personality and impact. This is unprecedented. The WNBA is a floundering league, as I said earlier. Jackie Robinson wasn't tasked with saving professional baseball. He just needed to save himself. Clark is carrying the WNBA. When Larry Bird entered the NBA in 1979, he shared the burden of elevating the NBA with Magic Johnson. Bird wasn't a white savior. He was the great white hope. Hope is a far lighter load than savior. Saviors get rejected, persecuted, and crucified. When the angry feminists and racists finish killing Cailtin Clark, she will not rise again 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, 3 decades, or even 3 centuries later. She'll be dead right alongside the WNBA. Now that's a fire! This is one of my favorite fire starters. I hope you got it, enjoyed it, understand it, where it's coming from. What Cailtin Clark is experiencing, it's unprecedented. I just think about, take Tiger Woods when he went into the PGA Tour and started dominating, and he was met with resistance and jealousy and pettiness and racism. But again, just like Jackie Robinson, he could control his level of success. All he needed, a golf ball, a set of clubs. There's nothing his opponents could do to stop Tiger Woods. He was in control in his success. He wasn't relying on teammates or other golfers to help him be successful. That's the disadvantage Clark has. Look, I don't know the dynamics of the Indiana Fever, but if they're like the other 11 teams in the WNBA, there's some women on that team that do not like Cailtin Clark. They're jealous of Cailtin Clark. They hate the whole narrative that this white girl is saving and elevating and making the WNBA prominent. Cailtin Clark is on an island, and she's dependent on people around her to help her be successful individually and as a team. I have not seen this. And is she facing the kind of death threats and physical harm that Jackie Robinson was? No. But in every other way, she's facing more resistance and has less control of her success than Jackie Robinson did. Jackie Robinson could go step into that batter's box and put the wood to that baseball 3 out of every 10 times and be a success. Played first base, someone makes a bad throw to him, the error isn't credited to Jackie Robinson. All he had, the error would be credited to the shortstop, second baseman, third base, whoever made the bad throw. Jackie Robinson could be an individual success, and he played on a team that was at a championship level when he arrived. I have to confess, I bought the WNBA League Pass last night so I could watch Cailtin Clark last night play in Seattle. I was up late last night, for me anyway, watching Cailtin Clark. I've watched all 5 games. They're getting better, but it's mostly a clown show. This Aaliyah Boston that they made the first pick last year, I don't see it. How was she the number 1 overall pick? She can't help. She's not a number 1 overall pick. I was talking to one of my best friends who lives in Indianapolis and has followed the Fever for a lot longer than me. They have a history of really bad draft picks. I think Shamika Holtzclaw was the general manager, and back-to-back years, she made horrendous picks at the top of the draft. When I look at one of the big mistakes that I feel like they made this draft, and Shamika Holtzclaw is no longer in control or running that team. But this year, if you're taking Cailtin Clark and you anticipate what's about to happen to Cailtin Clark, all of the animus, all of the hostility, all the attention, all the focus, how do you not draft that Kate Martin with your second pick? How do you allow the Las Vegas Aces to get her with the 18th pick? It's just a no-brainer decision. You pair her with her teammate from Iowa so that she's not so isolated. It's no different, and I've talked about this previously. What did the Boston Celtics do for Larry Bird? What did they do for Bill Russell? This is what Red Auerbach in a well-run franchise. When Bill Russell showed up and he's this transformational player in Boston in the 1950s, they put an all-black lineup and a lot more black teammates around Bill Russell to make him more comfortable. When Larry Bird showed up, Red Auerbach, following the Bill Russell blueprint, put a bunch of white dudes around Larry Bird. They put them in a cocoon where they're comfortable. And no one would be, they didn't want to put Larry Bird in an environment where Dennis Rodman or members of the Detroit Pistons or people that would be jealous of him and upset that the white dude was getting this much attention. Same thing, they did the exact same thing for Bill Russell because they were smart. They weren't racist, they were smart. Indiana Fever, the WNBA, not smart. These women that are, let's play this video of this foul that Cailtin Clark took last night. I think it's symbolic of the kind of animus and hostility that she's facing and what she's going to face all season. They're going to break her. Play the clip of the foul, her going to the hoop and just getting destroyed.
One-on-one, Sammy Whitcomb with 8 seconds left. Goes around to Gumake, drives baseline, and shot rejected by Izzy McMagor. Second opportunity is up and in by Nalissa Smith. Very entertaining first half about Seattle, and all of a sudden, we're pretty close. This has been as close as it's been all second quarter long, 44-2.
That's Bill Laimbeer. That's old school NBA basketball, stuff that has been outlawed. And I think I just caught the pronunciation of Cheney Ogumake or something they just said. I'm sorry. I don't, you know, I struggle with testosterone, so you know I'm gonna struggle with Ogumake. Anyway, what Cailtin Clark is facing, and wait till Diana Taurasi, because it ain't just the black girls that got a problem. That LGBTQ army has a problem with Cailtin Clark. And I appreciate the fact that some people are trying to cape up and throw some sympathy Cailtin Clark's way. It's not gonna work. That's a group of angry feminists and racists in the WNBA. And Cailtin Clark will be asked, just like, remember Paige Beckers or whatever, she spoke at the ESPY, she received some award, and she went out of her way to thank the black players that paved the way for her. And this is all the stuff that's required. You gotta bend the knee to the Yas Queens, to this protected group, to this celebrated group of angry women. You have to kiss their rear end. Remember when Adele won some award and then turned it into a speech about how great Beyonce was? That's the culture that we've created here in America. Remember that? Adele, I don't know, Grammy, and basically went up there and apologized and talked about how great Beyonce was. That's the environment we've created. It's a very racist environment. Everybody remembers when, you know, Taylor Swift won some award and Kanye came and snatched the mic out of her hand and talked about Beyonce. That's the environment we've created. And everybody's in denial about it. And everybody's trying to, even the people defending Cailtin Clark won't go at it head first. Trust me, if this were happening to a black girl and she went into tennis, if Serena Williams and Venus Williams had been facing all kinds of petty, jealous comments from Martina Navratilova and Chris Everett and Steffi Graf and Anna Kournikova, and people were sitting on TV taking little snide pot shots and talking about, well, you know, it's Serena and Venus and Martina Hingis that are bringing all of this attention. Martina Hingis, what's she got to do with this? Who? What? This is Venus and Serena doing this. Well, what are we doing here? And people would call it racist. And so if LeBron really wanted to say something, he would call it out for what it is. It's racist. Charles Barkley, he wouldn't be pretending like, hey, don't be like men. No, call it out for what it really is. You angry, racist, gay feminists. Cut it out. This woman is making people actually watch your game. You're flying charter. Could you imagine? First of all, they don't deserve to be flying charter, private flights. They don't deserve it. But could you imagine being the person that made that possible and all you get is hate and animus from the people that are flying private for no reason in a league that loses money? But they're hating on this girl. I want to play the clip of Whoopi Goldberg. And she's, again, another one of these idiots that knows nothing about basketball. But she does feel sorry for Cailtin Clark. She recognizes what's going on. But addressing it with total transparency and honesty, nah. But let's play the clip of Whoopi.
Because we have been trying to bring attention to the WNBA for years. Yeah. Begging people to pay attention. These women are oftentimes equal, if not better sometimes, than the folks you're watching.
Sometimes better than the guys.
And so to have her reduced that way bothered me a lot because this is her record.
Yeah.
And unless you can show me who's got a better record than this is why she's getting the attention she's getting. Because she's a damn good player. And it doesn't matter whether she's straight or gay. Ain't nobody crying when she's making those balls.
Again, this is the insanity that engulfs every conversation. Sonny Houston and the other idiots get to chime in from the peanut gallery. Yeah, they're better than the guys. It's insane. But they were reacting there to Jemele Hill's comments in the Los Angeles Times, where Jemele Hill said, hey, look, some of her popularity has to be credited to her race and sexuality. This is the one, make sure everybody records this moment, because I'm about to agree with Jemele Hill. I don't think there's anything all that bad about what Jemele Hill said, and I don't think it's inaccurate. And the fact that she's white and playing in a sport that has been dominated by black women, and she's heterosexual in a sport and a culture that has been dominated by the LGBTQ. Yes, that's part of the reason why people are watching. That's part of the reason why I bought a WNBA League Pass. I find her fascinating. Little white girl from Iowa playing against a bunch of, or quite a few black women who hate her. I find that fascinating. No different than me. I found Tiger Woods fascinating. Little black dude from California playing against a lot of white dudes that didn't like him, and he was dominating. I found that fascinating. And when you throw in the LGBTQ stuff, I don't blame fathers, mothers, heterosexual people, because again, if we're talking in reality, these are conversations that coaches in women's sports have all the time. The parents of those athletes beg the coaches, don't let my daughter turn gay. Is your atmosphere, your culture, your environment at this university, is it supportive of heterosexual women? These questions are asked all the time. And again, when I say don't let my daughter turn gay, the real question, a lot of these parents and the pressure they put on the coaches, coaching staff, and the school is, hey, get my daughter to quit being gay. Those are the facts. That's the reality. And so Jemele's speaking facts here. Part of her popularity is the fact she's heterosexual. Part of her popularity is the fact she's white. Neither one of those things are negatives to me. They're actual things that I'm reacting to. I like her because she's heterosexual. I want to see less tattoos and less women pretending to be men in organized sports. I want to see women who are comfortable being women play these sports, act like a woman, dress like a woman, present themselves like a woman. That's why I was a bit critical of Angel Reese earlier. But the reason I like Angel Reese is because she presents herself as a woman, a proud woman. I like it. What I don't want to see tatted up women pretending to be men. I just don't want to see it. And I have a right to feel that way. And the racial component I find fascinating. I like rooting for underdogs, whether it's Tiger Woods or Cailtin Clark, whether it's Jackie Robinson or Cailtin Clark. I'm consistent in that way. So we'll bring in Steve Kim and talk about this from his perspective. I also got a few other little sports questions I want to dive into with Steve Kim. Before we get to Steve Kim, I want to talk to you guys about Craftco. Since 2007, Folds of Honor has provided life-changing scholarships to the spouses and children of America's fallen or disabled in combat. And in 2023, this was extended to include the families of fallen first responders. They've awarded 51,000 scholarships and more than $200 million so far, and the need is still great. But together, we can make sure no qualified applicant is turned away. Our friends at Flying Ace has aligned with Folds of Honor to ensure the children of our American heroes receive the education they deserve. As proud supporters of Folds of Honor, Flying Ace has had the privilege of providing hope for the families of those who protect our freedom. To that end, Flying Ace is proudly sponsoring 4 scholarships awarded quarterly this year. Please, if you can donate today and help them make a great impact, go to flyingacespirits.com or scan the QR code on the screen. The link is also in the show notes. When you purchase a bottle of Flying Ace, you will also be donating to Folds of Honor. Make sure you use the promo code Whitlock and get free shipping on every order. That's flyingacespirits.com, promo code Whitlock. Bree and Cosell, next. There are voices and songs crying out for men to live up to their biblical responsibilities, to correct a corrupt and broken culture. We can no longer afford to ignore the tug on the heart that all good men hear and feel. We have lost our way, and we know it. You can see it in the eyes and actions of scared, frustrated, and confused children. Free speech, it's under attack. The meritocracy, it's been scrapped in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Identity politics separates us by color. As we step further and further away from our identity in Christ, Satan steals the innocence of children. Join me. We need courage, not perfection. John Rich.
You're the benefactor of the fact that the founding fathers recognized that's where your inalienable rights come from.
Glenn Beck.
You are the leaders of freedom and liberty in the world.
Mark Robinson.
Ain't but 2 genders.
Pastor E.W. Jackson.
But I owe my identity not to my race. I owe my identity to the Lord Jesus Christ.
And members of the Fearless Army in Nashville on Saturday, June 1st for Roll Call 2.0. Visit fearlessarmyrollcall.com to reserve your spot at the Men's Summit that will restore your faith and your resolve to fight. With the elections coming up, I'm expecting things to get even crazier than they already are, especially when it comes to freedom of speech and how hypocritical the left is when it comes to it. To them, it's okay to chant from the river to the sea, but you calling our border crisis and invasion a crime? Can't do that. We already know that big tech is doing everything in their power to suppress the truth. They even collude with our government to do so. Do I need to remind you about Hunter Biden's laptop? You better believe that getting the truth out to you will be even harder than it is now. You see, here at Blaze Media, we saw this coming, and it's exactly why we exist. Blaze TV and Blaze News is a place where I can speak freely with no repercussions, a place where viewers can be part of the solution and ensure that they can't cut us off from each other. Consider supporting Blaze Media, where our mission is to set fire to the lies the left wants you to believe. Not only will you get this show, but you'll have access to everything else we do here, from our Blaze original series to Steve Baker's incredible investigative work revealing the shocking lies about January 6th, and so much more. Go to blazetv.com and subscribe today. And when you do, be sure to use the promo code FEARLESS to get $20 off your subscription. That's blazetv.com. Use my promo code FEARLESS to get $20 off. Do it today.
모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러 So fly
Steve, welcome back to the show. I am now firmly convinced, Steve, that the Cailtin Clark experiment is going to fail. They're going to destroy Cailtin Clark. Through no fault of Cailtin Clark, they're going to destroy her. That's my new position. Yes.
Jason, I want to address a couple of things here. Let's lay this out. Did I not tell you a couple of months ago that Miss Clark would be given the Pistol Pete Maravich treatment? It seems to be happening, but with this caveat, she's getting drugged and beaten up like little Mr. Bill. Remember Saturday Night Live? Oh, no. I mean, she's getting everything short of her hair pulled. She's getting beaten up. She's getting ostracized. And here's the thing. Now the media is piling on for the fact that she's the reason that there's increased interest in the WNBA. All I can say is this. Cailtin Clark can do a lot of things, but she cannot overcome, excuse the term, the hating-ass Shaniquas. And the hating-ass Shaniquas just cannot understand the blessing that she is. And Jason, on a more serious note, it reminds me of a couple of interviews that I've read in some books and some NFL films footage. Back in the 60s, in the days of the American Football League, there were players of all colors, sizes, shapes, and religions who basically said, when we played the New York Jets, we would make sure we played hard, we wanted to tackle, and we wanted to sack Joe Namath, but we all knew, take care of this guy. That's our money. He's elevating all of our play and all of our pay, and we need him. So we're not going to let him have a free run here, but we would make sure that when we tackled him, we made sure we let him down a little bit more gently because they understood the big picture. See, those men understood. The hating-ass Shaniquas do not.
Steve, walk me and the audience through. I'm surprised. The Pistol Pete treatment. What happened to Pistol Pete in your opinion?
Well, the teammates just did not want him to be a star. There was a little bit of resentment
in the NBA.
In the NBA, you running and gunning and having free reign under Press Maravich, your coach, and you think you're going to score 45 points a game, and every single day you're going to be it didn't happen. It was actually a conflict from within. And now from what you're saying, and again, I'm not watching the games. You're the one with the WNBA season pass, not me. And you said you're very ashamed of yourself. Jason, I'm ashamed of you too. But based on what you're saying, they're not exactly setting her up for success. And to me, that is I'm going to quote the great Thomas Sowell, the philosophy of grievance, only this time it's from the internal factors and the external.
Steve, you're 1,000% right. I did not know that, and I'm shocked that I did not know that about Pete Maravich. But it's like one of the points I'm making is take even Jackie Robinson, who, again, faced death threats and had justifiable reasons to fear for his physical safety. But setting that aside, he could step to the plate and control his destiny, his level of success. He wasn't relying on Pee Wee Reese or anybody else on that Dodgers team to help him put a bat on a ball and move runners around the bases. That's where this basketball thing complicates everything, because just like what you're arguing with Pistol Pete, if the four other guys on the court don't cooperate with you or don't play a proper style, it can hurt your individual success. And so here's Cailtin Clark averaging 17, 18 points a game. She's averaging quite a few turnovers, and they're going 0-5. She's not going to experience the level of individual success she's used to, and team success is really going to be problematic. She's going to lose a lot of games this year, and she's off to an 0-5 start. I think that's going to wear her out. The reward for sacrifice and putting up with all the stupidity is, well, at least we're winning. At least I'm having individual success. I think she's going to be denied both, and I think she's going to be mentally damaged that she'll never be able to live up to her full potential, and or she may just say, you know what, 2 years from now, a year from now, 3 years from now, she might say, hey, I've had enough of this. I'm going to go do something else.
Oh, Jason, great segue. You're putting me on the right spots on the floor, unlike her teammates. This is what I think she needs to do. What's the greatest asset of the WNBA right now. It is Cailtin Clark. So Cailtin Clark needs to prove a point. This is what I would do. I would actually retire. I would just say the mental stress and the beating I'm taking, just sit out a year and let these hating ass Shaniquas fly back on Spirit Airlines in the middle of the night, or take the 5 a.m. red eye, or back to Frontier Airlines. No more chartered flights. In fact, we're not going to get any closer to what we've gotten. Let the accommodations slip back down. Let the television ratings slump. And let there be a great appreciation for that queen from Iowa. Okay? So again, if you don't appreciate the blessings of the great white Mayo Hope from Iowa City, fine. Let her sit out. Let's go back to the old ways. You hating ass Shaniquas. God, pisses me off. Pisses me off. It really doesn't.
You're getting us in so much trouble. I'm going to take why are you letting Steve talk like that? But one, because I agree with it, and it's just reality. But Steve, I will say this. It's not just the black WNBA players. The lesbian crews, the Diana Taurasi's, the Sue Birds, the Breanna Stewart, they're right there with them in terms of their hatred of Cailtin Clark. But beyond all of that, as an opposing player, I do want to compete as hard as I can against Cailtin Clark. Just my individual competitive nature, spirit would do that. And I think the strategy that teams are employing of, hey, let's pick her up 3/4 court. As soon as she tries to initiate offense from the top of the key, let's blitz her, let's double team her. I think it's all great strategy, because it tears apart that Fever team, and and so some of the stuff they're doing to me is justified, but all of this complaining, we all should get the same publicity and trying to, Angel Reese is just as big a part of this as so and so. Everybody can see the hatred, and it's over the top. But I just don't think it's going to stop. And eventually I think it's going to break her.
Well, Jason, the competition's fine. As the great Herm Edwards once said, you play to win the game. Hello? Okay, and so I'm glad, and I got to come at you, Jason. Are you finally on my side that if Cailtin played against men in any league, 3-on-3, whatever, she couldn't get her shot off? I hope you've learned something about basketball. I am the Korean Hubie Brown. Listen to the Kimster. I kind of know this a little bit. But here's the other part about the support she's getting, because all of a sudden she's the Jerry Cooney of basketball, right? The Great White Hope. And then what about all these women that carry the league? Here's my message for the Sony Hostins and the Jamel Overkills. Okay, so you feel aggrieved that the African-American / lesbian player has been overlooked for 20-some odd years, right? I have a question for those people. Yeah, those people. What was keeping you from covering them the past 25 years? But long before there was a Cailtin Clark, there was still a Lisa Leslie, a Cheryl Swoops, there it is. You yourselves neglected it as much as the Steve Kims and Jason Whitlocks. See, that's the part that to me is never stated. Nothing was keeping them from doing WNBA podcasts. No one would have listened. That's why they didn't do it. So this whole notion that somehow Cailtin Clark is the problem is, to me, the great, big, fat, white lie.
Yeah, I bet you if we checked Jemele Hill's Twitter feed, she probably never mentioned the WNBA or probably even women's college basketball until Cailtin Clark. And there's probably a once a year reference to Don Staley winning a national championship or something along those lines, or free Brittany Griner, all of that. But in terms of intense coverage and focus, you're absolutely right.
Jason, one of your many battles with Katie Nolan, who I'm assuming has to be in your top 10 beefs, but again, great countdown. So I remember a couple years ago, and I sent this to you, when Katie Nolan, when she did one of her shows on ESPN Plus that 14 people watched, so it was a lot like a WNBA game, she did a whole show about how the WNBA needs to be paid at an equal level or an increased level compared to the NBA. In other words, there need to be equality. She did this whole big thing on it. Some enterprising young man on Twitter checked her social media profile of her Instagram account and all her other accounts, there was a lot of Red Sox games, a lot of Patriot game, a lot of Celtics game, a lot of men's game. You know, one thing she was never at and took a picture at because she didn't go? The WNBA. Yeah. Enough said.
I want to cover a different aspect of something LeBron James said during his podcast with JJ Redick that was related to Cailtin Clark. Let's play the clip. LeBron analogizes Bronny to Cailtin Clark.
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it f***ed up. Cailtin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA. But for her individually, I don't think she should get involved on nothing that's being said. Just go have fun, enjoy, but I'm rooting for Cailtin because I've been in that seat before. I've walked that road before. I hope she kills. I hope Aaliyah Boston does amazing. I hope they do great. I'm just kind of in this mode right now because I'm getting the same, thing from watching my son, who's a 19-year-old, kind of getting a lot of animosity and hatred towards him when he's just a kid trying to live out his dream. There's a very small number of men and women that actually get to live out their dream of playing a professional sport. And we have grown-ass men and women out here doing whatever they can to try to make sure that does not happen. That is the weirdest thing in the world, but it is what it is. And I'm glad that Cailtin has a great head on her shoulder.
Steve, do you know anybody who's trying to stop Bronny from living out his basketball dream? Who is he talking about?
Yeah, the word here is called meritocracy. The reason why Cailtin Clark gets so much of the heat or the animosity or the scrutiny is because she was the best player in her chosen field. Bronny is a shooting guard that didn't shoot very well. He averaged less than 5 points a game. In other words, if there were recording artists, whether it's country music or hip-hop, R&B, pop, Cailtin Clark is like that triple platinum artist. Bronny released an album and it went lead. Didn't even go aluminum. Went lead. So this whole notion that somehow they're on equal footing, the word is called meritocracy. One player, that being Cailtin Clark, deserves the scrutiny. Now, whether she deserves all that other treatment, that's up for debate. The problem with Bronny, and again, this whole notion that somehow bringing more eyeballs to the television sets and more general interest. Jason, I still live in LA. Okay, I can honestly tell you that in the sports news cycle, the USC basketball program is probably 18th. I'm just telling you, the last time people actually cared about USC basketball, I would say it was that one OJ Mayo year, the year that him and Kevin Love kind of were crosstown rivals all of 6 months, right? But I didn't see a lot of stories there, even in sports talk radio. The local channels, no one talked about, hey, come see Bronny James at the Galen Center. Jason, I've only been to the Galen Center about 5 times in my life, and I live about 15 minutes from it. 4 of them have been for boxing matches. So this whole notion that somehow Bronny James created this Harold Miner-like buzz with the USC basketball program, again, that is another big, fat lie.
Yeah, I think LeBron was using Cailtin to drum up sympathy for Bronny, and there aren't people trying to stop Bronny from living out his dream. There are people trying to accurately talk about, hey, Bronny's not a legitimate NBA prospect. This is being forced on everybody by LeBron James. And I think LeBron is also trying to pretend like he faced a similar resistance and animus as Cailtin Clark. And I that's preposterous. LeBron James was hailed and championed as the savior of the league, and everybody celebrated him and hoped that he would replace Michael Jordan. Until he did the decision and cut tail and ran for Miami, I just don't think LeBron faced any real resistance at all.
No, he was the chosen one. There was no doubt he was the golden child. But I want to be fair about this. Okay, I will make the comparison between Bronny and Cailtin Clark. If Cailtin Clark played on the USC men's basketball team and had to face a Pac-12 men's schedule last year, I think she would score about 4 points a game too. There, you have it. That's the comparison. I said
Steve, I want to talk to you about Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes made some comments in support of Harrison Butker. But before I do that, before I get into that, I want to talk to the audience about balance of nature. Making sure you have fruits and vegetables in your diet is important for maintaining a healthy diet, but it can also be difficult, especially if you're busy. The average person doesn't even eat half of the recommended servings in a day. That's a huge gap in nutrition, and inflation has seriously increased the cost of fruits and vegetables. That's why Balance of Nature provides an on-the-go solution, and they haven't raised their prices for 10 years. Their proprietary blend of 31 fruits and vegetables come in easy-to-swallow capsules and will give your body so much of the nourishment it needs. Imagine trying to eat 31 different kinds of produce in a single day. Well, that's what you're getting with Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies. When you go to balanceofnature.com, you'll get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets with your first order as a preferred customer by using my discount code FEARLESS. That's limited to 5 sets, but you'll save a ton of money while getting the fruits and vegetables you need in your diet. Go to balanceofnature.com and use the promo code FEARLESS for 35% off. That's balanceofnature.com. Make sure you use my promo code. I take Balance of Nature. My family takes Balance of Nature. Friends take Balance of Nature. It gets great results. Steve, I want to play you this clip of Andy Reid, or we'll start with Patrick Mahomes first, coming to the defense of Harrison Butker, who basically said, hey, women, don't be ashamed of being mothers, and prioritizing that. But here's Patrick Mahomes being forced to defend Harrison Butker for some harmless comments.
I know Harrison. I've known him for 7 years, and I judge him by the character that he shows every single day, and that's a good person. That's someone who cares about the people around him, cares about his family, and wants to make a good impact in society. When you're in the locker room, there's a lot of people from a lot of different areas of life, and they have a lot of different views on everything, and we're not always going to agree, but and there's certain things that he said that I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand the person that he is, and he's trying to do whatever he can to lead people in the right direction. And that might not be the same values as I have, but at the same time, I'm going to judge him by the character that he shows every single day. That's a great person, and we'll continue to move along and try to help build each other up to make ourselves better every single day. But at the end of the day, we're going to come together as a team, and I think that'll help out as well as eliminating those distractions outside the building as well.
Steve, your thoughts to Patrick Mahomes, how he handled that question?
I thought he handled it perfectly. And again, if you look at Patrick Mahomes, he's a guy that's married and has a family. I think he can relate. He may not say it outwardly, but in his own mind, he's thinking, you know what? I'm glad I'm in the situation that Harrison talks about. A nuclear family with a person that I've settled down with, and I've raised a family. I'm still raising a family. Young kids are going to go through the process of life, and there is stability. And so in his own way, through his own actions, he may not state it explicitly. He'll say, look, Harrison Butker, in my view, is right. And to make sure that the mob doesn't come after him, you have to throw in this caveat. Well, I don't agree with everything he says. Well, yeah, you're not supposed to. But I think that's the way you kind of get everyone off of you. So I give Mahomes credit, though, because it would have been easy for him, especially given his role in the fact that he is considered a minority, to go the opposite direction. But again, I'll say this again, Harrison Butker is actually good at his job. There is value to his role within the Kansas City Chiefs. And so I think that also helps his position.
All right, let's play Andy Reid. And there was who handled it better, Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes? Let's play Reid.
Yeah, listen, I talk to Harrison all the time, so I think I didn't talk to him about this. didn't think we needed to. We're a microcosm of life here. Everybody from different areas, different religions, different races, and so we all get along. We all respect each other's opinions, and not necessarily do we go by those, but we respect everybody to have a voice. It's a great thing about America, man, and we're just, like I said, a microcosm of that. And I wish, my wish is that everybody could kind of follow that. So yeah.
I loved what Andy Reid did there, and I think it will shut up people. I think Andy Reid maybe slightly better than Patrick Mahomes, but my main takeaway, Steve, is I can't even understand why these questions are being asked to these guys. What Harrison Butker said isn't controversial. And we know that of the 53 guys on that roster, there's got to be 25, 30 of them that agree with Harrison Butker. And so I don't even understand. He didn't express anything controversial, and the media is turning this into a big, oh my God, you believe what Harrison said? There's women in the building that heard what Harrison Butker said. So what? Your thoughts?
You could tell Coach Reid was annoyed by the whole thing. Look, football coaches, they want to talk about one thing, football on their terms. They don't want to give away too much. They want to keep it very general. They don't want to give away any bulletin board material. But that was Andy Reid's way of saying to whoever asked that question, or the media at large, that's a problem. Grow up. Learn how to respect other people's opinion. I believe in the First Amendment. You don't have to agree, but I'm okay with it. That was a nice way of saying that. The other issue is, I do have a question for these media members that are asking these questions. Will you have as much scrutiny for the likes of Rashee Rice when it comes to those particular issues and those individuals who ran afoul of the law? And again, I'm not here to litigate those cases, but Harrison Butker, last time I checked, did not commit any crimes. Will they have, in the immortal words of Michael Irvin, the same intensity? Same intensity. Will they have it when it comes to those instances?
Steve, I'm going to go one better. This is, if they really wanted to legitimize this line of questioning, someone should go, the media should go to Mike McDaniel, the coach of the Miami Dolphins, and say, what do you say to the women in the Dolphins organization when Tyreek Hill has 10 babies by 5 different women? What message do you think that's sending to the women in the Dolphins organization? What message is it sending to young kids? No one's going to ask that question. If we had to judge Tyreek Hill's actions that speak very loudly, 10 babies, 5 different mamas, versus Harrison Butker telling a group of Catholics, hey, don't forget about being a mother, that's important, you're going to get a lot of fulfillment and purpose out of that. We're acting like what Harrison Butker said is more problematic than what Tyreek Hill does.
There's no doubt about it. And these false equivalencies to Colin Kaepernick are interesting to me, given the circumstances involved in when these gestures or statements were made. But we cannot be hypocritical about this, and I feel as though I haven't been. I think I've told you this. I actually didn't have a problem with Colin Kaepernick with these gestures or the statements he made. I just had the right to say, look, that's your First Amendment right. My individual right is to ignore and dismiss what you say, because quite frankly, I didn't think he was very sincere, and I don't think he made much of a difference outside of making a lot of money and creating a martyrdom position for himself. But when it was all said and done, guess what? A league that he called a slave trade, he still begged back in, which actually shows you how ineffectual his whole cause was. I get the sense that Harrison Butker is probably going to keep spreading his message long after he kicks his last field goal for the Kansas City Chiefs. So in that sense, I do believe, and again, you can agree or disagree, I think his messaging is much more sincere and honest.
Steve, I want to throw a little extra commentary your way and the audience's way. I want to thank our friends at Balance of Nature for allowing this. This is a little curveball I want to throw to you, Steve. And make sure you guys go to balanceofnature.com. Get 35% off by using my promo code FEARLESS and $10 off any additional sets with your first order. Go to balanceofnature.com. Steve, here's the curveball I'm throwing you. I want to play this clip of Scottie Scheffler. There's a new video with a different angle of his arrest. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's given me pause and makes me have to rethink my position. Yeah, you can see there's his car. There's no policeman being dragged by his car. There's a policeman running up on his car and escalating this. Whoever that cop is and whoever this police station or whoever authorized this is a bad, bad look for police and for the people that arrested this guy. I'm sitting here. I had tweeted out then, like, hey, if Scottie Scheffler had complied, there would have been no problem. I took the police at their word that the guy drove and dragged this cop, that Scottie Scheffler did that. This video seems to contradict all of that. Scottie Scheffler did seem to comply, and this cop seemed to escalate this situation for absolutely no reason. I was wrong. I don't mind being wrong, and I'm glad this additional evidence has come to light, and clearly this police force appears to owe Scottie Scheffler an apology.
You know, Jason, maybe NWA had a point. But see, I look at it like this. All these people on social media, the Twitter activists, that all of a sudden were about compliance and you got to listen to the police, right? Again, I say screenshot all of those people because that was nothing honest about what they were saying. Now they suddenly want you to comply with police and to listen. Me, I'm still consistent. I still believe in compliance. I still believe in respecting all police officers and all in law enforcement as a law-abiding citizen of this great country. So again, Scott Scheffler, we can change the narrative by telling the truth. But again, to those very same people that were crowing over this, for the next time something happens, you're right, everyone should comply. Let's not forget that messaging, Jason. Comply and you will not die.
I'm going to go a step further, Steve, and argue that from my perspective, this video, I'm glad I'm proven wrong here and that Scottie Scheffler did seem to comply, because I think this video points out that, like, it doesn't matter whether you're the number one ranked golf player in the world, a multimillionaire, fly around on private jets to golf events. The police can get triggered and escalate and elevate any situation and treat anyone unfairly. And so the argument is that the left and the nutcases all, police, it's always Laquan or
people of color,
LeBron or whomever. Yeah, it's always the black guy that gets treated poorly by the police. I've been arguing for years, like, no, man, the police can get saucy, spicy, and act inappropriate with anybody that gives them any lip or appears to disagree or disobey any command that they give. And so I look at this and go, this is the same. I believe the guy's name is Daniel Shaver out of Arizona, who was assassinated, white dude assassinated on his knees by white cops. The video's clear as day. It's far worse than anything that happened to George Floyd or Jacob Blake. But people all ignored that because Daniel Shaver is a white guy. And people will ignore what just happened to Scottie Scheffler because he's a white guy. They won't connect the dots that, hey, look, man, police have difficult jobs. They're under stress. They can get triggered and do inappropriate things. And so just proceed with caution and bend over backwards trying to comply. But even when you do follow instructions like it appears Scottie Scheffler did, bad things can happen with law enforcement. They make mistakes, no different than doctors, veterinarians, talk show hosts. We all make mistakes. There is no perfect cop. There's no perfect minister. There's no perfect nobody other than Jesus Christ, in my opinion. But anyway, I actually think this video works for me and you.
Well, Tony Timpa is another name that people should look at in terms of police brutality and law enforcement stepping over the line. But I think it goes to another thing psychologically. A lot of these people don't want to admit, but they admit with the way they reacted to Scottie Scheffler. They naturally, without even realizing it, maybe they expect other people to actually act with more decorum and more respect. They themselves hold other people to higher standards. That if it was a white guy, he should have acted better. What I call the double standard, no standard. No standard for you, but a double standard for us. And I'm going to say this again. Confucius say that the standards and the expectations you have of people, that's what you really think of them.
Steve, thank you so much. Great job as always. We'll see you tomorrow. That's Steve Kim. Before we play tomorrow, it's important. Now make sure we cut out this Scott Scheffler deal, put it out as a separate as well. I want to make sure our audience sees this over social media and on YouTube, because again, I was wrong. I took the police at their word that Scottie Scheffler drove off with an officer attached to his car. That does not seem to be the case. He seemed to comply, and the police officer clearly, in my view, seems to overreact and turn nothing into something. I hope he sues the pants off of these guys. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Make sure you go to balanceofnature.com. Use my promo code FEARLESS. I'm Jason Whitlock. We'll play tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Freedom, looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation, we all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on the corner, never been alone, I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back, we are receiving, all deceiving, we all wanna be free. We want freedom. I wanna be, I just want